Hi friends, this flow is for your hamstrings. So what you'll need is a strap, a bolster, and at least 2 blocks and a blanket. So if your hamstrings are super tight, or if you feel pain in your knees or in your lower back, this flow or this little sequence is going to be perfect for you. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our strap, lie down on our back, and once on your back, take your right foot into the strap and then stretch the left leg. Find length in the right leg, and it's okay if there's a little bend in your knee. So what you want to do is just find that position where you feel the stretch, not in the back of your knee, but in the hamstring. So go ahead and just take 3 breaths right here. 1, 2, and 3. So you just, after the 3rd breath, you want to see if you have more space to take a deeper stretch in the hamstring. So this part, it's okay if you don't have your legs straight, because that slight bend in the knee is really bringing some length into the hamstring. The thing that you do want to watch is that your toes are pointing towards the top of your mat and not out to the side. Wonderful. So now we're going to do the other side. So slip the left foot in, lower the right leg. Once you've found that position in your left leg, on the inhale, stretch that right leg. Soft bend in the knee to bring the focus to the hamstring. 2, 3, and then slowly find a deeper stretch. And 3. Very nice. Then lower the leg down, and then come up to a seated position. Nice. So the next thing we're going to do is take the 2 blocks and place them at the front of your mat, coming to a tabletop position, however your knees and body allows. So right here in tabletop, take the right leg and step it forward between the blocks. And then on the exhale, pull the hips back. Again, trying to create length. Here, I'll move this out of the way. Trying to create length. See how I'm pulling my hips back, but I'm not sinking down. I'm just pulling the hips back as I anchor my right foot to the ground. And with the flat back, I hinge into a fold. And then my toes are flexed. See that? And then gently lift out of that stretch. And then go to the left leg. Pull the hips back. Root the left heel into the ground, flat back, and hinge forward. So notice I'm not rounding my spine out, because once I round the spine out, the stretch goes away from the hamstring. But the minute you flatten that back out, ooh, you really feel it in the hamstring. Keep those hips level so that it's not opening to one side or the other, but it's squared and lined up with the top of the mat. Wonderful. And then we're going to come come up and then lower out of tabletop pose. Great job. Okay. So we're slowly preparing for the final hamstring pose. And before we do that, we need to open up the fronts of the hips, because to do the final pose for our hamstrings, our quads need to be open. So go ahead and lie down on your side. And then take the top of the foot and stretch it back. So notice my knee isn't lifting up like this, but my knee is right in line with my hip socket. And I'm pulling my pubic bone towards my navel. So here's my pubic bone right here. And I'm pulling it towards my navel as I take my knee backwards. And I take breaths, breathing length into the quads. Good. And then release. So I'm going to take my back to face you so you can see as I stretch what I'm doing on the other side. So again, my knee is bent. My hand finds the top of the foot. Engage the abdominals to keep the back long. And my knee isn't lifting up, but it's in line with the hip socket. And then you slowly release. Good job. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is our hamstring stretch in Dandasana. So notice how my spine is straight and I'm not curving out. And if you find it difficult to sit upright in this position, lift your hips up higher. And when your hips are higher than your knees, it's easier. It creates space in the hip sockets so that you can lift out of your hips. So you can take it up higher and it'll help you lengthen up. But if you notice that the blanket isn't high enough for you and you're still slouching, no worries. Move the blanket out of the way. And you can take a block. And then depending on the width of your hips, you can take 2 blocks. And then take your hips up. And now you're even higher, just like that. Okay? So from here in Dandasana, you walk your hands forward, keeping your spine flat. Can you see that? And you pause where you're able to keep your spine long. And then notice my feet are engaged. So when you flex your quads, it allows your hamstrings to relax. And when your hamstrings relax, you are creating length in the hamstrings. Good. So you can pause right here and then work on going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you can, after you've gone deeper and deeper, see what happens if you take the blocks out and you place the blanket underneath, and then you do that whole sequence again, walking forward. And then if you want to explore even more, see what happens if you take the blanket out and then you do the sequence again. So in pyramid pose, you want the blocks in the front of your mat, and then you'll come into a forward fold, just like this. So adjust your blocks where you're able to keep extension in your legs. So you can have the blocks here, you can have the blocks up here, you can have the blocks here, or you may not need blocks and you can go straight to the ground. But I'm going to demonstrate with blocks. So the first part of pyramid pose, you step the left foot forward between the blocks, and then you step the right foot back at a slight angle, but you want to adjust those hips so the hips are lined up with the top of the mat. And then in pyramid pose, pull the belly in, and again, flat spine, exhale, hinge. Press down, here I'll move my hand. So this is what the left foot looks like. I'm not rolling out. My toes are pointing straight ahead, and I'm actually pressing down on the left big toe. When you do that, it allows the energy to flow right through the center of the leg and not sinking into one joint or the other. So you pull the left hip upwards as you press the left heel downward. You breathe in and out right here. And you'll feel a nice stretch through the back of the left leg. And with each exhale, maybe you go deeper into the pyramid pose. Beautiful. So now take the right foot, step it forward. Left foot, step it back. Find that alignment so that the hips are lined up with the top of the mat, not opening out to the side, but squared. Good. Again, press down into the right big toe, pull the right hip off of the heel, and the heel is pushing down into the ground. And then with each inhale and exhale, you hinge deeper. Always keeping the spine flat so that the hamstring gets a nice stretch. Beautiful. Okay, step the left foot forward. Now we're going to prepare for the final hamstring pose, okay? So you want to position your bolster this way, the blanket at the top of the mat, but not on the mat, but on the floor. And then you want 2 blocks on either side. You'll come up to your knees, and then you'll step the right foot forward. Good. And so just like how we did that one stretch at the beginning of our practice, we're going to position our body just like this. Toes are flexed, hips stay level to the front of the mat. And then you're going to walk, sliding the foot forward, walk, keep sliding the foot forward, walk, slide the foot forward until you feel your hips resting right on the block. Toes are pointing forward, your hips are squared. So I'm showing you the side view right now, and then I'm going to do it a second time around so you can see it from the front view. So this right here is an incredible hamstring stretch. And you can see we needed to open up the quad so that we can keep our hips squared, but you really feel this in the hamstring. And then if you want, you can walk the blocks forward and then take a little fold for your hamstring. Walk it back. And then if you'd like, you can take one hand and stretch it up. And then you can even take the other hand, stretch it up. And the whole time, you're working to pull the tailbone down to support the lower back. Good, now take the hands down. And then use your abdominals and pull the hips up. It's like a downward facing dog motion where you pull the hips up. And then you take the right foot and slide it back. For the left side, I'm going to show you head on how to do the pose. So you can see how my hips stay squared and they don't angle out to the side. So again, we're gonna go in tabletop, step the left foot forward, square the hips, and then the foot flexes. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, slide. See how my hips are staying square? And then walk the blocks forward. Inhale. Exhale, slide. Inhale. Exhale, slide. And my hips are squared. So they're not opened out to the side like this, but they're pointing towards the front of the mat. Toes, see how my toes are pointing out? My feet aren't angling out this way. They're pointing upwards to keep all of the muscles aligned to prevent any risk to injury of the hamstrings or any of the joints. So stay right here, or you can inhale, stretch. And inhale, stretch. Exhale. Feel free to walk the hands forward, keeping the spine straight, and do a hamstring stretch right here, Hanumanasana. The splits. Walk the hands back, and then pull the core in to lift the hips up, and then slide the foot back, tabletop pose. And there you have it, a little sequence to give love to your hamstrings, open up your hips, and bring relief to the lower back. Namaste.